Good day everyone from Disney's Pop Century Resort. This resort recently reopened. I did stay here quite a few years ago, but I don't remember much about it. So I'm gonna show you around everything that's going on here and let you know what I think at the end. Now for starters, this resort holds a lot of people. This is one of the value resorts here at Disney. This is your main entryway where you can come in and the check-in desk will be located inside behind this wall. But you'll see they have the different decades. That is the theme of this resort. Each area is themed to a decade, going from the 50s all the way to the 90s. Now, if we continue to the left, this is kind of the main entryway hallway. And again, check-in desk will be on the right, but I'll show you that in a moment. All along here, outside, different bus stops for different areas. Right outside of the Classic Hall, this is your bus directory. So from resorts, you can't necessarily get to every single place. They don't go like resort to resort. Coming on in through like the main hall here, you'll see directly to the right, you have a little business center. We'll walk in here. So you can use internet, print stuff, phone cards, whatever you might need. Directly outside the business center, here's where they would have the DVC booth. But to the right of it, there's the cruise ship for this resort. They got one of the small ones. Across from that, you're gonna have Everything Pop, which is your store and your restaurant. It's kind of weird. You walk through the store and the restaurant's behind it, but we'll take a look at that in a moment. To the right of that, you'll have the entrance to the pool and essentially all of the different rooms. To the right, here is your check-in desk. You can see it is very long. All the way back here on, they have decade walls, but what's really cool about it is if you look at the top, you'll see it's each specific year. So 1990, 91, 92, and you'll see things as they kind of came out from that year. Like I'm seeing Pokemon cards straight away. I'm actually really surprised they have these Lego Technic Throwbots. I still have some of these somewhere. I like that they have an entire Atari 2600 case up here. Looking over here in the 70s section, they have one of the Mickey phones, but to the left of that, they just stuck a whole big wheel to the wall. We have completely reached the other end of the check-in desk. Again, this is where you can pull up and get out. Now, to the right, though, they do have like a kids waiting section. You'll see it's empty now. They got like hopscotch, different pictures, but of course, you got your Mickey Mouse cartoons. Back in the main hall, you have Fast Forward Arcade, but unfortunately, it is closed. All of the arcades and all the Disney resorts are closed. I can understand the bigger resorts that have really small ones, but the arcades are a pretty big feature at these value resorts. They're very large. Quick little overview of the shop. So we just walked in. You can see it goes all along back here through these walls. And then here's the entrance to the restaurant. And you got more shop this way, and that door leads back out to the buses. With this being a Skyliner resort, they do have the Skyliner merchandise. Always like seeing it. Here's some of the resort specific merchandise. You can see they got different cups, glasses, Christmas ornaments, magnets. There's the pin and the shirt. Coming in from the shop, here's a look at the restaurant. You'll see it's very large. And it is normally one of the quick service kind of grab and goes. You got different sections here, but now it's all mobile order. You'll see they got more seating over there. Drink stations. It's the back side of the drink stations, more seating, and we're gonna exit out here and go to the main pool. Now, coming outside, you'll see the main pool in front of us, and straight away to the right, you've got Pedals, which is their pool bar. I do see a directory over there, so now's a good time to show you the layout of the resort. Now here's a zoomed in area of the Classic Hall, where we basically just were. We walked out, and we're here near the Hippy Dippy pool. Now we're gonna go to the bigger map, and you'll see we're in the 60s section. And then all to the left, you have the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and to the right, 50s. Just 50s. I almost forgot to mention the Skyliner's out here, connected to Art of Animation at Hourglass Lake. Here's kind of an overview of the 60s section. It's these two buildings right here. Those are huge statues, especially when you get up close to them. Actually, everything in this place is. You see the Play-Doh top over there? And this yo-yo. We're actually gonna walk through each decade because they have so much cool stuff to see. And we're gonna start by going right over to the 50s. I feel I should point out, Art of Animation and Pop Century are kind of like twins. They're laid out in the same way. The main buildings are the same. So keep that in mind when booking these places. Art of Animation is currently closed. However, Pop Century is always a lot cheaper and you can just walk to Art of Animation. I feel like people pay for those special themed rooms, but Pop Century almost always a better deal. We're about to head over to the 50s section because it's the shortest one that goes out that way, and then all the others are the opposite end. But I noticed this airline check-in sign here. Never really seen that at any resort before. Again, here we are And here's the 3 buildings for the 50s. So we'll go step in the middle and take a look. Okay, well this is a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. You've got all the rooms back there, a giant bowling pin pool here. You've got Lady. You got more rooms over here, and then you got Tramp. Look how big he is. I want someone to walk by just so you could see it in perspective, how huge that is. There you go, there's a human standing next to this thing. It is huge. Okay, so we walked here, and now we're back here, but I'd like to point out something else that I didn't really think about. But each building, the huge statue in front is like its icon. So that building is like Lady, Tramp, and that one had like a jukebox machine. You see the 60s one had Mowgli and Baloo, whatever, and Play-Doh over here. So the next one looks like we got a big wheel, a Mickey, Roger Rabbit, a laptop, and I guess a, what is that, a Walkman? There's also 3 pools. The one for the 50s was the bowling pin, the one for the 60s is the flower, and they also have a little kiddie pool. And it looks like the one for the 90s is a computer screen, maybe, a TV. We've got Goofy over here, and I feel like this is the same Goofy statue, maybe a little bit bigger, but you see at a Paradise Pier Hotel over in California. Now we're gonna head over into the 70s section, and we're just gonna kind of keep going our way up. Keep in mind, this is the only value resort currently open at Walt Disney World, meaning this one is quite busy. It feels very populated, especially in the morning. So they do have a Skyway, which is great, but everyone wants to go to Hollywood Studios right now. And trying to get there can be a mess in the morning, even with the buses, because they are running less buses. Just keep that in mind if you're staying here. Well, this is interesting. They have like a random twister area set up. The trees kind of seem like they get in the way, but there is indeed a twister map, and sure enough, the spinner works. From the 70s, you have this insanely large big wheel kind of in front of the building. These guys just meticulously placed out. Pretty cool. And directly across from that, the Mickey phone. This is the 70s section, but is that supposed to be a mood ring? I think it is. Coming out of the 70s area, you have this trail that goes along Hourglass Lake, but there's all these trivia signs as you go along. We'll be sure to walk this way back towards the Skyliner after we check out the 80s and 90s. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head welcoming us into the 80s. We're coming into the 80s now, flanked by the Rubik's Cubes. Kind of laid out like the 50s section, but a little different. You have the 80s on each side. The 90s only has one building in the back. And here we are in the center area. To the right, Roger Rabbit 80s building. I like the Pac-Man touches, that's kind of neat. You'll see this is definitely the 90s behind us, and that's a computer pool because you have a huge keyboard here. Just decoration on the ground. And you have the Walkman on the other side of the 80s. We'll go up and get a closer look here. I like the touch of adding the floppy disk over there. And you'll see the laptop for the 90s building. Now just walking along this path here on the outskirts, it'll take us back to the middle where the Skyliner is. To the left you can see the Art of Animation across Hourglass Lake. I like this sign. Walt Disney World Resort opens in Orlando, Florida, 1971. I'm a little surprised that they actually have a running trail here, but it seems like a good one as well. It's around Hourglass Lake, and you actually pass through Pop Century and Art of Animation, and that's going to be 1.3 miles. Here's what I mean by crowds. Here's the Skyliner station. Over at Pop Century and Art of Animation, it really shares the same station. See, it goes over there. Here we are entering the room at Pop Century. This is a 70s themed room. Now, I remember staying here a couple years ago and just walking in right away, I feel like this may have been renovated. You got hardwood floors, a lot of USB chargers, so we'll start over here. You got this like little area to hold stuff. Outlets, USB chargers. Nice touch. You have a table here, and after staying, that's mine, ignore that. After staying at Art of Animation, I can already tell what this is right here. In fact, I'll come back to that in a moment. So you got a desk. Around this side, you've got a little mini fridge here. That's nice, clear front. Drawer with, got your Joffreys, and they got tea. Very nice. Little coffee maker. Now I am noticing though, it does seem a little bit dark in this room. So you kind of have like the 70s style here, theming with the drawers. They're not the quiet shut drawers. More outlets and USB. on both sides. You're getting a lot in this room. Already tuned in on my favorite channel. That's important. You got your coat hangers. And as Disney likes to do, you have the big sliding door here. It looks like it's just one though. Yep. I like that though. You'll notice that it kind of stops itself so it doesn't slam, even if I try to. Nice feature. Just regular wall behind that. Okay, so this light isn't on this side. Not sure how big of a difference it'll make. Overall lighting in the room. Oh, well look at that. So this switch here turns on a light up here. Okay, so that really kind of livened up the room a little bit here. Definitely brighter now. Let's take a look in here. Wow. Okay, they've definitely renovated the room. So you've got the border lights here. Single sink. A lot of the Disney resorts have had two, but that's a pretty good sized sink. Plenty of storage space. Does this open? No, that's just solid piece there. Got a blow dryer, it looks like. Hair dryer. Ironing board. I don't see an iron though. Am I missing that? Am I crazy? Is there no iron? Oh, there it is. Okay, other side. All right, so you got a sliding door here too. That's weird. It's like a dual sliding. Seems a little excessive, really. All right, pretty good size in here. No theming though, really. Unless you want to count this dual sliding. Is that a thing of the 70s? Dual sliding glass shower things. Okay, they do a little bit of work back here. Got your clean baggie. Now back out in the main room. So it looks a lot more bright now that we got all the light switches on. To point out what I was talking about with this, I'm going to turn the camera around for this because this is actually going to be pretty big. It's an actual second bed. Probably supposed to use 2 people for this, but the table folds down from the bed, lifts up with some theming. And there's your finished product. You basically get 2 beds. And they always theme the back of these, which I really do appreciate. Alright, that is going to do it from Disney's Pop Century Resort. I like this one, I really do. It's got really good theming, but it's more of a kids style resort, I feel like. More for the kids in it. They do a really good job with what they have. As far as the decades go, like I'm staying in the 70s. I'd rather be in like the 80s or 90s. That sounds kind of cool to me. But the room's pretty nice. Very modern touch, at least in the 70s area. I don't know if all the rooms have been renovated. I feel like they probably have at this point. Having the pull down bed, turning the desk. I really like that kind of stuff. I didn't go to the restaurant. I do like the store, and I am a little bummed that the arcade's closed. It was a big arcade. But that's all the Disney resorts, so not really much to say there about that. They got some nice pools here as well, and you got 3 of them. And now that this resort has Skyliner, that is a huge plus. So you have buses and Skyliners at a value resort, which is a good deal for Disney. If I had to give it a rank, I'd say probably 7 out of 10. Would I stay at it again? Yeah, of course I would. This is actually my 2nd time staying here. So I really like it and would recommend it, especially if you're coming now and you're coming on a budget. It is the only value resort open. But that is going to do it. Thank you all for watching. The caravan is moving on.